And welcome to another episode of the Paranormal Trucker. I am PT. Of course, with me is Snowman and Large Marge. You can see there they have a new poster in between them.
Yes, we can get it up a little closer.
Yeah, Snowman just picked those up today, so we haven't had a chance to mount them up, but they look really good.
Getting a glare on them, trying to keep the glare off, they can see it.
Try to tilt it down a little bit.
There we go.
Yeah, there you go. Looks very good.
Yeah.
Looks really good.
Good looking poster.
Well, first I want to start out by saying I'm very sorry, guys, but we couldn't put a new episode out on Sunday. We were going to try again on Monday. Of course, I did an update on Facebook yesterday. We couldn't do it yesterday. So it is Tuesday, and we are going to jump right into it. Also, some other exciting news. Our hats finally came in. We're still waiting on our keychains, but our trucker caps came in, and here it is. Here's the first one. We got a black one with our logo.
I like the hat.
It is.
I love the hat.
It is a trucker cap, so it's got the mesh in the back. It's got the long bill, and it sits up kind of high on your head. I think they look really good.
I think they look awesome.
They look great.
I think all truckers look good with them.
Yeah, absolutely. If you're a trucker, you need one. Second one we have
I want one.
the second one we have is a blue. It's the same logo.
UK blue.
Still has the mesh, that's indicative of all trucker caps. So if you guys want one, we are going to be selling these for $12 a piece. We have a limited supply. We want to see how they do, but also at least see mine, your two, and two others are spoken for because we have a big contest coming up at the end of October. So if you guys want to be entered in the contest, make sure you send in your ghost stories, your personal ghost stories. It has to happen to you to paranormaltrucker@yahoo.com. And third place is a keychain, which our keychains haven't arrived yet, but I'll let you know as soon as they get here. Second place will be one of these hats and a keychain. First place will be a hat, a keychain, and a $100 gift card to Walmart or Amazon, whatever your choice is. Again, get your stories in trucker@yahoo.com. You can also send them to our Facebook page. Don't forget to listen to us on YouTube, Facebook. Where are we also at, Snowman?
We are now on Anchor and Spotify, and I'm working on getting this set up on the Google Podcast and Apple Podcast. I'm just not as technical, so it's taking me a little longer to get things going. I'm probably going to call somebody for help. That'll probably be a weekend job.
Well, and the sad part is you're more technical than I am. So between the three of us here, we might be able to do something.
Yeah, we're working on it.
All right. Well, let's just get right into it, guys. This week has been crazy busy. Snowman, Large Marge, what have you guys been into this week?
What have we done?
Well, I've been working like crazy for the last 2 weeks, and it's just been and then last night we went and got some food at a restaurant. I'm not going to give out the names because I don't want to give them a bad name, but it has tore me up and tore Marge up.
That's disgusting. Why are you talking about that?
We got that new addition to our family. So that's wore me out.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
We have our we call it our orphanage over here now.
Yeah.
All our animals.
Yes.
So he's been a wonderful addition to the family, but he's wore me out. So
yeah, he's
that's been a lot of my time this week.
Yeah, definitely. What the new addition that she's talking about is the dog that was hanging out here with me, the Great Dane Diesel. Unfortunately, where I'm on the road all the time and can't be here with him, it's unfair to him. So Large Marge graciously stepped up and said that he has a large area to run free over there, and she would take him in. So that's the one she's talking about. He is a handful. He's still a puppy, but he's about a full-grown man puppy. So
Yeah, about
Yeah,
200 pounds.
yeah.
he will waller a man. That's for sure.
Yeah, he came over and
We love him.
jumped up in my lap, and I was sitting in the recliner, and the recliner goes back, and he pins me.
Yeah.
And so I'm trying to get up, and he won't let me up, and I'm trying to tap out, and he ain't giving up either. So he
No.
just had me pinned.
Yeah, he was taught not to believe in tap out, and that's a fact.
Yeah, well, evidently.
But he's wore out tonight. They're all laying here
Yeah.
sleeping. They've been on a big ranch run.
Yeah, I took him up to the pond, and I ran him
We
good.
live on a big piece of property, so
And he when he got back, his tongue was dragging the ground. So, and now he's
been down ever since.
Oh, good. Well, that's what he needs to. He needs to run some of that puppy energy out.
Buddy.
I bet he's having a blast over there. He's got all kinds of friends.
And we love him.
Yeah,
He's fitting in good.
he's calmed down a lot, and
Mine's really good.
and
now.
the funniest thing is, Chunk, the little pug, is his best buddy.
Oh, that's
They're
awesome.
best friends.
It's like
They're besties.
yes, they run, they fight, or they play. It sounds like they're fighting, like they're tearing each other up. But, oh my God,
yeah.
they play his best time.
Well, good. So we don't have any new emails from anyone this week. You guys are letting me down. We need some emails. Come on, we want to hear from you. Paranormaltrucker@yahoo.com. But I have a interesting article that I found about Kings Island. Does everyone know about Kings Island? It's a park up around Cincinnati, Ohio. It's an amusement park. It's a very cool place. I've had many childhood vacations there. It was a very nice park, but I didn't realize at the time, of course, it's haunted. Of course, any amusement park is going to be. There's a lot of moving parts and a lot of people, and you're going to have unfortunate accidents. But I have an article about that, so let's jump right into it. Kings Island Amusement Park is located in Mason, Ohio, about 24 miles northeast of Cincinnati. The park opened to the public on April 29th of 1972, and it was named for the King's Powder Company, which created the town of Kings Mill for its employees. The 700-acre property rests on land once owned by the company. What most visitors to the park don't realize is that tucked away among the roller coasters, water rides, and midway games is an ancient cemetery. And by the way, Kings Island is haunted. Ooh.
Oh, we're gonna make some trip Kings Island now.
Well, I grew up there and I never heard that.
We can go and ride some roller coasters.
Let's do it. I'm in. The small historic cemetery dating back to the 1840s and known historically as the Dog Street Cemetery sits at the north end of the Kings Island parking lot entrance off of Columbia Road. It's in between the campground and the parking area. There are nearly 70 grave sites in the cemetery, although only about 50 headstones still stand today. Contrary to what you might think, the ghosts of the park are not all connected to the ancient boneyard. For decades, rumors of accidental deaths inside the park abounded, but there are several verifiable deaths within the park that may account for the ghostly reputation. Some of those park deaths include a 20-year-old lion country safari ranger who was mauled to death by a lion in 1976 after leaving the safety of his Jeep to relieve himself. The safari ride operated from 1974 to 1993 and is now the site of the Son of Beast. However, this is kind of an old article because if you know anything about Kings Island, they have since leveled the Son of Beast. It is no longer there. I'm not sure what went into its place. Does anybody know?
No, I don't know. I'm sure it's another roller coaster.
No.
I think they're competing with Cedar Point, who gets the most.
Yeah, I mean, I've been to both. I've been to Cedar Point and I've been to Kings Island. I honestly like Kings Island better.
Yeah, Kings Island. It was a little nicer park.
Yeah.
But
But
Cedar Point.
There's still too many people at both of them.
Amen.
Now,
Well,
maybe rent it out for the weekend, have a cool run. I'd enjoy myself. Might not be able to walk after I got off of the roller coaster, but I would enjoy myself.
well, that would be an expensive weekend.
I never went because it was too expensive.
Um,
If I took a single parent taking my 3 kids, it was at the time, it was like $100 just to get through the front doors.
oh
And
wow.
then they didn't offer no food or anything. But I mean, you couldn't go back out and like take a picnic lunch or anything.
Well, back when you were little, we would make so many trips up there because you and your brother loved the roller coasters and all this and that. So we got season tickets.
Yeah.
And the one year we went to Myrtle Beach and was on our way back, and we stopped at Carowinds, which is on the North Carolina South Carolina border,
Mm-hmm.
and our tickets worked, so we didn't have to pay anything to get in the park. And the day we went, it was not crowded. You could walk up, ride a roller coaster, get off of it, go back to the front line, and ride it again.
Yeah.
And that's the best day we ever had in the music.
It was a lot of fun. I do miss.
I never was a fan.
My favorite roller coaster at Kings Island was the Vortex, and of course, it's closed down now too. I think I don't know if they've leveled it. I'm sure they have by now.
Yeah, that's pretty old.
Yeah, I like that one. But now the racers have been around since
It was open.
yeah, it was like since the early days.
I got to ride the Bat. They had that there for 1 year, I think,
It was a
and
couple
it
years. I
slung
think.
somebody off and killed them.
Oh gosh.
You were suspended.
It
It
yeah,
had
it,
a thing
it,
that came over, and when it was a roller coaster, but your feet were suspended.
yeah, it was it was just like the Top Gun roller coaster they have there. You've ridden it where it swings back and forth.
Yeah.
That was the first one in the country that did.
Oh, okay.
It had, I guess they had issues with it or whatever.
It killed somebody. Got killed on it.
And that's the unfortunate part of it. I mean, it's these amusement park rides can be dangerous. I mean, for the most part, they're safe, but occasionally, if you don't listen to those safety videos or listen to the safety workers, you can get hurt.
Yeah. Right. Don't stand up. Don't put your arms forward at all times. Yeah.
Yeah.
Riding off the hill.
So on Friday, May 13th, 1983, the park hosted a grad night for local high schools. And apparently, an inebriated young man named John Harder was killed after climbing around the restricted areas of the Eiffel Tower and falling to his death down the elevator shaft. The common version claims he was decapitated after being either hit by the counterweight or one of the elevators. We'll come back to John Harder in a few minutes. On June 9th, 1991, a day known in the park as Black Sunday, a young man named Tom Brenning was with his friends at Oktoberfest near the Viking attraction. It was hot that day, and he playfully dipped his hand into a fountain to splash his friends. Unbeknownst to him, there was a short in the electric lighting, and he was badly shocked and fell into the water. His friend, William Eddie Heathcote, went in to save him, but was electrocuted also. A nearby security guard rushed to the fountain, jumped in to pull both men out, and was instantly electrocuted. Both the security guard and Eddie died on the scene. Tim barely survived and remained crippled for life. A woman on a nearby ride, flight commander, witnessed the commotion and while wriggling around to open the cockpit to get a better view, came out of her harness and fell to her death some 50 feet below. These tragic events have contributed to ghost sightings at the park, but it is the ghost known as the little girl in the blue dress that is seen by visitors and employees far more than others. Not much is known about the diminutive little ghost, other than that, she seems to predate the park and is connected to the land. Witness accounts describe her as a young girl about 4 foot tall, dressed in an old-fashioned 19th century blue dress. She aimlessly roams the Kings Island parking lot, front gate, admissions, and international restaurant areas. Her ghost holds dominion over the entire park, and she is often seen by security guards wandering around after dark. One of her favorite haunts is the water park. Ironic for a little girl whose life was ended by water. Now, I'm not really sure how they're getting that her life was ended by water, because it really doesn't say anything about that. But I mean, maybe there's some backstory. Maybe they figured out who she is. All of the witness accounts, although independent of each other, are remarkably similar in nature. They describe her as a friendly little thing, not threatening or scary. She's just kind of there. Park employees have named the ghost Tram Girl. after the many sightings by tram drivers after closing time. Reportedly, she runs onto the tram tracks, causing drivers to stop suddenly before disappearing into thin air. Although unsubstantiated, several websites claimed that the girl drowned. Oh, okay, there we go. There's why we're talking about water.
Well, there you go.
Claimed that the girl drowned in a lake on the property. Do what?
Did she fall off the log flume?
No, I'm getting there. She just drowned on a. No, she. All right. So this girl was there. She's connected to the land before the park was even there.
Oh, okay, I got you.
Yeah. Were you not here for all that story I just told?
No, I had a call from one. I missed that.
I know.
I just watched the video.
I'm just trying to be a smart ass for you.
Well, well, didn't I?
Yeah.
Calm down.
So several websites claim that the girl drowned in a lake on the property and that she was buried in the cemetery. Queen City paranormal investigators call the ghost girl Missouri Jane, after a grave in the Kings Island Cemetery for a Missouri Jane Galenor, who died in 1846 at the age of 5. Although seemingly friendly in nature, physics claim that Missouri Jane is sad at seeing all the children in the park having fun without her. Perhaps unsurprisingly, she is not the only child ghost in the park. Employees and guests have witnessed a little boy ghost dubbed the Racer Boy, who is reputed to wander around the park near the Racer roller coaster. He is almost often seen dressed entirely in white, and his presence startles guests who often alert employees about a very realistic-looking child wandering alone too close to the wooden roller coaster. The story states that two of the 4 cars on the Racer roller coaster ride originally belonged to a ride at Coney Island called the Shooting Star. Legend claims that a long time ago, the body of a young boy was found dead on the tracks of the Shooting Star, killed by the train cars. Apparently, the child had been seated alone in the back of the roller coaster, and when he was pulled back and when it pulled back into the Coney Island shed, he was gone. A search ended with the body being found in a valley of the track. Racer's riders report seeing Racer boys standing alongside the tracks and in the tunnels of the popular ride. Curiously, while the Racer is one of the oldest rides in the park, one ride with ride components actually predating the park, Racer boy sightings weren't reported until the early 1990s. Then there is Tower Johnny. Now, this is the guy that we were talking about, John Harder, that fell to his death at the Eiffel Tower. The ghost of the aforementioned teenage boy who tragically fell from the riggings of the Eiffel Tower in 1983. Tower Johnny haunts the environs of his death, the Eiffel Tower. Ghosties love to tell the story, as it is easy to exaggerate the circumstances of his death by gruesomely extenuating the fall from the tower. After foolishly climbing up the closed elevator shaft to show off for his friends, Tower Johnny lost his grip on the greasy metal ropes, falling down the shaft where he was sliced like lunch meat by cables on his way down. Tower Johnny is one of the most popular ghosts at Kings Island, and most odd occurrences are blamed on him. Some claim to see him looking back at them from the tower or hanging out at the fountain in front of the tower. The sightings began shortly after the actual death at the park. Tower Johnny is often blamed for electrical malfunctions in the park. In fact, to this day, tripped sensors with no apparent cause are called Johnnies by Kings Island employees. Of course, with over 4 decades of service hosting millions of visitors and employees, these are not the only ghosts associated with the park, and the list will undoubtedly continue to grow in the coming years. Other spirits found in the park include a ghost attached to the Whitewater Canyon rafting ride. Countless employees have heard the disembodied sounds of a child's giggle, accompanied by the pelting of rocks against their observational towers after the last visitors have exited the ride. Employees call the poltergeist Woody, and is most often experienced at Observational Tower 2, which is deep in the woods and only accessible by a small footpath. Another ghost reportedly haunts the Beast roller coaster. Riders claim to see glowing red eyes in the woods located near the ride. It is often said to be the spirit of a visitor who died while riding the roller coaster. The octopus ride is also rumored to be haunted by a park guest who died while on the ride. That's a very good art. I mean, that's a very cool story.
That's
Yeah.
interesting.
I would love to be able to go up there and ghost hunt.
I would too. Maybe we can reach out to the park. Maybe at least get an interview with an employee, or the park closes at what in the wintertime. Maybe they'll let us come up and do a little hunt.
Maybe.
No, they don't close in the winter. They have Winterfest.
Oh, do they?
Yes. And they have what's their Halloween? Boo Fest? Fright Fest, or something like that.
Yeah.
They have a Halloween thing.
It goes through October.
Yeah.
But,
Well, I know they have Oktoberfest.
Later in the year.
Fear Fest.
Fear Fest, that's it.
That's what they call it.
Yeah, and then they have Oktoberfest, and again, I guess Fear Fest.
No, Oktoberfest are the Germans.
That's
the beer
downtown
hall.
Cincinnati.
That's the beer
They
hall.
have
but-
that down in Cincinnati.
Yeah, but they have something there at Kings Island. It's Oktoberfest.
Oh, man.
Well, that don't surprise me. There's a lot of German influence in that area.
Yeah.
And
Hey, Diesel.
they do sell beer there, so I guess
Wait, they sell beer at Kings Island?
I think so, for sure.
Huh. We're going.
Yeah, it's about $20 for a cup.
Yeah.
After the first 3 or 4, you don't count. They
I
don't
guess
count
that's
anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What you have to do is it gets 2 glasses held on that goes on your hat.
Yep.
All that way you're good.
That's right.
Oh yeah, definitely. Well, that is what I have for today. The Marge and the Snowman have some skull and bones news for us.
Well, we did some research on the internet and not a whole lot on it. Okay.
Well, there usually isn't about secret societies.
Yeah.
No, this one literally there's hardly anything. I mean, you could find so much out about the Masons and Illuminati and
All
that.
right. Hang on a minute.
Hold on a
gotta
minute.
get
We got
horse now.
technical difficulties.
Yeah, we got a horse. There. Back up. Back up. You over and lay down. Go
Come
lay
on.
down.
You go lay down. There you go.
Yeah.
Anyway, we did watch it. We did
so
watch an interesting documentary, and it gave a little bit of history. They really don't know a lot about it. It started roughly 200 years ago, and it was started by 15 to 20 families that were predominant that had come over here from Europe in the 15th and 16th century.
Yeah.
And they pulled their money together and they opened up this secret society on Yale's campus.
Yeah, it's only for
It's
seniors.
called the Tomb, the building, and it's only for seniors. And they have once a year they have a tap out day, they call it, where the senior members of the Skull and Bones decide 15 new members after watching the kids all year in school. They have to excel in education, in sports, and charitable work. They have to excel in all of it. And then they pick out 15, and that's all. And they walk around the school on tap out day and they tap them on the back of the shoulder, and all they say is Skull and Bones. And then, of course, the kid says yes, and he becomes a member. You can't voluntarily get into it. You can't, like, I know with the Masons, if somebody's in there that's already a member and they want a new member, they can bring that person there and get them into it. You can't do that at Skull and Bones. It's only seniors at Yale, 15 a year. And there have been presidents, William Howard Taft, who, by the way, is from Cincinnati.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the Bushes, George and Junior, and their father, actually, Preston, he was like the secretary at the and it's a lifetime membership, and of course it's secretive, and so there's little known about it. There's little known about the initiation ceremony. They said they don't do like the big with the Masons, the big play where they hit him on the head and all that stuff. They said they don't really know too much about it, and that's about all we could find out.
Yeah, well, I did read some stuff that William Howard Taft's father wanted to get into some one of the clubs or whatever on Yale's campus, and we
Yeah.
had that nobody would take him. So him and another guy started Skull and Bones, but you know, they were all like I said, all wealthy-to-do families that came over from Europe.
Banking families.
Yes, banking families. Well, and that kind of goes up. When Hitler came to power, now we got this off the documentary, and you can watch this on Prime. Is where we saw it, and they had connections. Hitler was needing money back in the 20s, you know, to finance his world domination or take or whatever, and was sending money through a bank in Denmark to a bank in New York with ties to Skull and Bones. And so they were investing that money and sending that money back to Hitler, you know. And then in 1942, I believe it was, the U.S. government actually caught wind of it, saw what was going on, and shut it down.
So are you saying that the Skull and Bones Society either knowingly or unknowingly funded
Not
the
the-
Nazis?
Initially,
Yes, and
when Hitler first came out.
you know, the stuff that they talked about in the documentary was, you know, they were practiced a lot of Marxist
Views.
views, you know, and wanted kind of like Hitler to have a master race. They wanted, you know, the white people to be in charge and all this, and you know, that's, you know,
So
to me, you kind of get in there and you're limiting the pool. You know, I mean,
Right.
they're very intelligent black people. They're very intelligent Hispanic people, you know, that contribute to this country. And their views were, no, we're not going to do that.
well, don't forget our Asian friends either.
Now.
Do what else?
Japan, don't forget our Asian friends either. Japan is on cutting edge technology constantly.
Yes, and you have
All ethnic groups.
and but you know, I did find a list of all the members from the very first to now,
Yeah.
and you would not believe that, you know, there you had 3 presidents, you had Secretary of State, ambassadors, big CEOs of these major corporations, you know, from all the way back in the 1800s till now. And so, you know, that tells me a couple of things. Either they're very highly motivated and they use that as the connections to, you know, to get power or whatever. Or, this is my favorite part, it's a big conspiracy and they're controlling a lot of shit that's going on right now in the government.
Yeah. Well, all right. So what I've noticed over all of our investigations with UFOs and secret governments and all kinds of stuff, conspiracy theories, everything ties back to Nazism. Are you telling me the Skull and Bones is another thing that's tying back to Nazism?
Well, you know, like I said, I couldn't find anything on the internet, you know, linking that to it. But this documentary alluded to they were actually helping fund the Nazis, you know, at the first part of in the 20s when he first started coming in and trying to get into power.
So from what I've picked up from what you're saying there is, and this is probably going to be a controversial statement, these people of power, these heads of economy, or pretty much these heads of economy, heads of state, were a racist organization, correct?
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Oh, sure.
Well, I mean, you know,
They were. I mean, I don't know if they are now, but they were.
And you kind of got to look at the times, you know,
Times have changed.
The times have changed dramatically. You know, back when all this was going on, you know, you had the slaves were freed, and there was a lot of bigamy going on with, you know, bigotry.
There's a lot of bigamy
There was
going on
probably
too.
a lot of bigamy going
That's
on
what
too.
happened to my grandpa.
Well, the
And, you know, that was just, you know, the times. You know, things changed. Things are getting better. They're working on getting better. But
yeah.
you know,
Well, all right. So aside from the paranormal trucker, of course, all the political BS that's going on in the world, one of the biggest arguments has been systemic racism.
There's no systemic racism.
I don't think there's
I don't believe
systemic
in
racism.
systemic
I
racism.
think what
There's
you're seeing is a political party
Let's
preaching
not get on this.
racists to
Yeah,
divide racism to divide the country
right.
to stay in power
Well,
with us.
yeah,
And then again, you know, if you'll look, same thing happened in Russia. The
Yeah.
Bolshevik Revolution. They divided everybody up where they were all fighting amongst themselves by class.
Sure.
And then, you know, then after everything gets, you know, everybody's all fighting amongst themselves, whatever, then y'all get together and take over and start over. And
So
that's kind of what we're working on here, you know.
yeah, so we're talking about so in the modern world, systemic racism doesn't exist, but at the time when a lot of these
That did.
Yeah,
Yes.
but back then, yeah.
Certainly it was.
But
Back
now I
then.
don't think it's that way now. I mean,
I know it's not.
you know,
right.
I just, you know, right now it's a political game. Well, tool. You know, it's just a game to divide and get people to not liking the Republicans or whoever, so the
Right.
Democrats stay in power. And you know, that's not the way our government is set up. That shouldn't be. We've got, you know, I don't know how many representatives we have anymore, but you got them and the senators that are supposed to be working together for the good of the country, and all they can do is, okay, I'm a Republican, I'm a Democrat, we my way or the highway, and
Exactly.
whoever's in charge, that's the way it works. Right now, Democrats are in charge,
Yeah,
and nothing productive is getting done for the country.
I agree 100%. No, and then you know, talking about modern politics, well, we've got some technical difficulties over there.
I'm gonna pull this down for the boys. Tired
Yeah. It looks like they're waking up.
No, we're not
Yeah, we're gonna roll it up
here.
here. Good lordy, Chuck. Let me get my Mountain Dew bottle here. I'm gonna smack one. Rub
We
the
need
back.
one. We need one more dog. I think
Yeah.
the house ain't quite cool.
Yeah.
No, I think you guys could use a leopard or something.
Well,
Yeah, we need,
you know, there was a raccoon here for a while. Marge said, "Oh, saw something on Facebook." She goes, "Oh my God, I want one of those!" And I said, "Listen, we're one llama short being Neverland Ranch over here, so stop."
It was a wombat. I want a wombat.
That's
They're so damn cute. They look like big fat rats.
yeah.
They're so cool
You
looking.
get down. You can't be on the.
I love
podcast.
animals. If you can't tell.
So all right, well, getting back on topic here. So yeah, obviously
Yeah, let's get back on topic.
modern times here. Okay, so systemic racism doesn't exist, but at the time of this, it looks like they did. So some notable members of the Skull and Bones Society. William Howard Taft, as was mentioned, was a class of 1878. He was the 27th president of the United States. Walter Camp, class of 1880, and is known as the father of American football. He developed the game from the Brits version of rugby and played the first rugby game at Yale University against Harvard University in 1876. Lyman Spitzer, am I saying his name right?
I don't know. I never heard of him.
Class of 1935, he was a noted astrophysicist. Spitzer dreamed up the idea behind the Hubble Space Telescope. Potter Stewart, class of 1937, the son of a Midwestern congressman. Stewart became the editor of Yale Law Review during his time at Yale. As a Supreme Court justice, Potter sat firmly in the middle of an ideological war on the bench. Notably, he wrote A Descent into Griswold versus Connecticut in 1965. invalidating a state law that banned contraceptives. McGeorge Bundy, class of 1940, before becoming one of JFK's wise men. Bundy may have relied on his big brother to help him get in the Skull and Bones. William Bundy, who graduated a class earlier, went on to serve as a State Department liaison official, notably during the Bay of Pigs invasion. George Herbert Walker Bush, class of 1948. Of course, he's the what number president was he?
41st.
41st president, just after Ronald Reagan. William F. Buckley Jr., class of 1950, known as outspokenness and transatlantic accent. Buckley symbolized the most conservative brand of politics. At Yale, he acted as a chairman of the Yale Daily News and was a member of the debate team. Uh-oh. My phone crapped out here. Hold on. Let me get back to where I was going. There we go. John F. Kerry, class of 1966, the current Secretary of State and former Senator of Massachusetts. Kerry spent his childhood abroad with his diplomat father before attending Yale and gaining membership with Skull and Bones. Frederick Wallace Smith, class of 66 also. He's often forgotten, but he is the founder of FedEx, the first and largest express delivery company in the world. He serves as president, chairman, and CEO of the multi-billion-dollar company. So movers and shakers of the world. George W. Bush, class of 68. He was the 43rd. Is that right? 43rd,
Yeah.
43rd president?
Yes.
Yes.
43rd. Stephen A. Schwartzman, class of 69. The club tapped Schwartzman only a year behind George W. Bush, and he gained prominence under the future president's administration when his hedge fund, the Blackstone Group, went public in 2007. SEC filings Blackstone's IPO revealed that Schwartzman had made an average of $1 million per day for the fiscal year ending in December of 2006. Dana Milbank, class of 1990. Milbank begins the newest generation of the Bonesmen on the list. He's a journalist who has covered both the Bush and Obama presidency extensively, offending both at one time or another. Milbank writes a column for the Washington Post, and he wrote Tears of a Clown, Glenn Beck, and the Teabagging of America. Well, that sounds like a good book. Austin Goolsbee, class of 91. Another newbie bonesman by usual standard. Goolsbee, 46, is an economist and the youngest member of Obama's cabinet. He was born an economist, was presumably tapped in 89 while studying economics and performing with the Yale improv troupe Just Add Water. Skull and Bones didn't allow women until 1991. And let's see. I think there's a woman on here.
Maybe they allowed them to just pick any.
No, I think I see. Well, I can't make heads or tails of this article because it's all in different.
Well, what was interesting was back when they Kerry and Bush and all them were running for president. Reporters actually asked them about the Skull and Bones, and both of them said, "We can't tell you." I'm not going to say.
And it is very strange, because these secret societies that are everybody's imagination kind of runs wild with secret societies running the country, blah, blah, blah. When you think about Bohemian Grove, you think about the Freemasons, the Illuminati, Skull and Bones. Well, is there what is our opinion? Is there a secret government that's controlling and pulling the strings of everyone in the world?
Oh, absolutely.
You agree? Okay.
I think so.
I
Because
certainly think
you
so.
have the president, which is elected by the people, but then you have these
Supposedly.
super wealthy, powerful people that belong to these things that probably get quite a bit of say so, if not being able to control things. So they turn our country, not from the will of the people, but to what their beliefs are. And I now how much control they have, I don't know, but I really think they, it's a major influence on our politicians.
Yeah.
Just because of the money and the influential people that are in these, you know, they're going to either fall in line with them and probably get kicked back some way on the back end of their presidency or whatever they're doing, you know, whether they're a senator or a representative, you know.
Yeah.
And so I really think that it's, you know.
Well, I tend to agree with you on that, just because of the way the world politics plays out. The United States, arguably, I would say, is probably one of the highest tax nations. Their citizens are one of the highest taxed in the world, I believe, just because of the sheer amount of taxes that we have to pay on everything. What stresses me out the most is our government tends to take that money, and instead of helping our people, they send it across seas to people who would just as rather cut your head off with a dull butcher knife, for political gain or whatever, political gain or shock or terrorism, whatever you want to call it. But why we're sending money around the world to keep these people going, I can't understand that. I can't, and that kind of makes me think, like, along the lines of what you're saying, is that there has to be a secret government keeping everything afloat.
Yeah, it's not, you know, like I said, it's, you know, they have agendas.
Yeah.
Of what they want, and I really think that they hold the puppet strings.
Yeah.
You know, more so in the last year than in the past, but you know.
Well, we're slowly turning into a political show. Let's forget about the last year.
Although I did see a really funny meme on Facebook the other day, I will have to find it and send it to you. I'm not going to play it on here or tell you what it's about, but it's hilarious.
Okay.
You would like it.
Well, you know what? I want to change things up a little bit for a second.
Let's do it.
When you were talking about Kings Island, the little town that I grew up in Ludlow, Kentucky, it's on the river, across from Cincinnati. We actually had an amusement park at the turn of the century, and it was a huge, it was the Kings Island of the day. People, and it was right on the Ohio River, so you could actually just take your boat down there and go into the lagoon. It was called Ludlow Lagoon, and you can look it up, you can Google it. And I think it lasted for about 10 years. A tornado hit and tore some of it up, but then what finally closed it down, they had the first auto racing ride, that it was like on a wooden track, and it was rounded, oval, and you rode these race cars, and somebody got killed on it. Well, the actual end part of it, the main lodge, is still there, and it's haunted. And they say it's haunted from the killings, the murders at the lagoon. So that's kind of interesting, because that's not that far from Kings Island.
So what do you mean the murders?
Well, I mean the people that got killed on those rides.
Oh, okay, I got you.
Yeah. Well, it is kind of murder. It's not really murder, but they got killed on the rides.
I was thinking we would have some nefarious, some nefarious killings here.
But they ended up, they filled the lagoon in, and but it was an inlet from the Ohio River. It was real interesting, but it was a big deal back in the day, and it's interesting to read about.
Oh, definitely. Now the inn that's still there, is it still open?
Well, it's a rental property. They rented out apartments. It was like the big hotel that was there at the time. So I'm sure we could get access to it. That would be crazy.
Yeah. I mean, I'm smelling a trip to the Cincinnati area soon.
I know, right? That would be interesting.
Man, I don't know if I could do King Kong. I'm a lot older now. That's a lot of walk.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm sure they've got.
Maybe they got them little Walmart go-karts we can ride around.
I hope so.
I say we go try to find the cemetery and not go in the park.
I hope so. Well, I mean, we have to go to the park. We have to go to at least the Eiffel Tower. We have to see Eiffel Tower Johnny.
Can you send me pictures?
I'll get to it.
No, I mean we can listen. We can make this a whole thing. We can go up there. We can check out the park. We can check out the lagoon area, and then we can just cruise on up to Dayton, close to the Wright-Patterson Air Force Base.
Yeah, that might be fun.
Who's gonna watch all these dogs?
Take them with us.
Oh God! Oh no!
Listen, I don't know if you've had Diesel in a. I've had him in a truck, and boy, he's got some gas. I don't think you want to take him on a long road ride.
We drove him over here. He was good on the way over here. It took a little over an hour, and he was real good when we got here. Hung his head out the window, and his big jaws flapped.
Yeah, he's got some bat wings on his mouth. That's for sure.
He does have bat wings.
Well, that and I recently, because I drive an hour to work every day.
Fool.
I've been
one way.
Fool. What's now? Interesting. That's not the longest drive you've made to work.
No, that's not.
That's not even like close to the longest drive you've made to work before.
I'm driving an hour and 35, 40 minutes to work every day.
Yeah, you were traveling from Pikeville, Kentucky to Huntington, West Virginia every day. How you did that, I do not know.
6 days. Well, because you and your brother had asthma issues, and
tell people I got asthma while I'm smoking.
Yeah, and I worked for Kroger's at the time, and at that time, you couldn't ask for better insurance anywhere.
Yeah,
I mean, they had. I mean, it was great. And when everything closed up here in Eastern Kentucky, I went up there just to keep the insurance. I had worked 6 days a week, but
yeah,
y'all are still breathing, so I guess it paid off.
Yeah, I'm still poisoning my lungs one way. I'm a glutton for punishment. Leave me alone.
Aren't we all?
Yeah. Yeah, all three of us sitting here
I
smoking.
know. I was smoking.
Freight train on the
People should be. People watching this are like, oh God.
Yeah.
Watch them all.
Yeah, thanks for kids.
Our introduction video. I told you all we were 3 shitbird rednecks with barely enough sense to keep from shitting ourselves.
Amen.
Yeah, right.
Amen.
So we
just have fun.
So anyway, I downloaded a book on Audible, so I'm listening to this, and it was it's called the CIA UFO Papers.
Yeah.
And basically what it is, on a Freedom of Information Act, the CIA dumped 20,000 files on the internet in 2017.
Wow.
The former head of MUFON, which is the Mutual UFO Network, got with them and told them, hey, I'm gonna research this and see what it is or whatever. So he narrowed it down to 500 files that pertain to the CIA and UFOs.
Yeah.
Very interesting. And when all this stuff started out with the Foo Fighters back in the 40s during World War II, it wasn't called the CIA then, it was a couple other organizations. And they actually sent out memos to Russia, China, Israel. Well, this was after war, I guess, Israel and a whole bunch of countries telling what they knew about UFOs and saying we need to cooperate on this stuff. And so then after that, when in the 50s, I mean, everything blew up. There was just a crazy amount of UFO sightings.
Yeah.
And and it actually even goes and mentions the Hopkinsville goblins, where the UFO was supposed to land and those little creatures come out and the family was shooting at them.
Right.
And, talks about some of that stuff and some of the other cases. And but the whole time, the CIA did not want to be involved, but that didn't stop them from looking into a few things. But anytime when anybody would ask them to acknowledge it or turn over some information or anything, they say go to the Air Force. We're not qualified to investigate that. And
Yeah.
that thing goes through the whole book so far. I'm up into the 60s right now, and it's interesting.
Sounds like it. Keep us updated on that.
Yeah, it's well, matter of fact, for me, it was interesting enough where I actually ordered the paperback book.
Oh, really?
To do it a little more in depth than just listening to it in the car.
Well, now, how long is this book?
I don't know. It's I really don't know how many pages it is. I mean, it's a pretty interesting book because it goes and tells the CIA stance on it. Then they'll have a little segment called "While You're Away from Your Desk," and they'll read a whole bunch of UFO sightings and reports. Some of them are really interesting, and so I've enjoyed listening to this.
Well, and you said it's on Audible?
It's on Audible. It's actually if you have an Audible membership, it's free. And I downloaded it and started listening, and like I said, it's pretty good.
Well, I'm an Audible fan. Audible, if you're listening, we are your biggest fans because being on the road quite a bit, I've been able to. Side note, I've been listening to a lot of Audible books, and I'm starting to turn into a prepper mind, I think. But I'm listening to post-apocalyptic craziness. So, but fantastic titles on there, and of course, we're not sponsored by Audible, but we could be. Just let us know.
We'll have all our subscribers.
Yeah. Well, right now we're up to 26 likes on Facebook and like 11 on our YouTube channel. So thank you guys. Get the word out.
Write in emails.
Write in emails. Don't forget to enter our contest. It has to happen to you. A ghost story that happened to you. We're going to announce the winners at the end of October.
Yes, Christmas is coming up. That $100 will come in handy.
Absolutely. The third prize is going to be a keychain, which we haven't got yet. As soon as they get here, I'll show you those keychains. Second prize is going to be a keychain and a trucker cap. Third prize keychain, or first prize keychain, trucker cap, and $100 gift card, Amazon or Walmart, your choice. Get those stories in at paranormaltrucker@yahoo.com, or you can message us on Facebook. Check us out on YouTube. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. It helps out more than you know. We are on Spotify and Anchor now, and we'll be. Go ahead.
We're on Anchor and Spotify, and as soon as I work out technical difficulties with the Apple, we'll be on Apple Podcasts and Google Podcasts.
Yes.
And then there's a couple other platforms that I'll work on those after I get those two. It seems like they're the biggest people listen to podcasts. So I'm
Sure.
Try to get on there, and maybe we can get a new follow.
Yes.
Good deal. Guys, if you have any topics that you want us to cover, paranormaltrucker@yahoo.com. I'm going to give a big shout out to Seth from Seth's Daily Podcast. Check out his YouTube podcast show over on YouTube, Seth's Daily Podcast. I think he's on Spotify now as well, or at least Anchor. I know that. Check out Justin with Talk Junkie, Justin Perkins. Check out Goose, Dirty Dan, Rebecca, all the gang over here to Chew Bubblegum. And check out our dear friends Elliot over at Elliot and his family, the Spooky Family, putting out some great content. They've got some sort of they've got some sort of contest going on for October as well. So check those guys out. Give them a listen. Again, thank you all for everything. The hats are in. We're going to be selling them for $12 a piece. If you want one, hit me up on Facebook or paranormaltrucker@yahoo.com. Check us out. And
also, I mean, if you're interested in donating to help keep this show going, because we need to buy some equipment, and
sure.
we are. It's hard to do when you work for a living and pay bills.
Yeah.
Money to get the things you need, but we are working on it slowly but sure. So any help would be appreciated.
Right, and that's why we've we're going to try to do these hats and maybe even look into doing some shirts and selling some keychains and stuff like that. We are, we're wanting to grow this channel, guys. We're wanting to grow our podcast, but we need to, we need to secure some equipment, and we want to be able to travel around and do, do some interesting sites that, that our listeners would like to see. But of course, like Snowman said, I mean, it's tough to do sometimes. So we're doing our best, and we're going to get there. But we just got to take it one day at a time.
Yeah, because we have real lives other than this.
Yes. Yeah, we gotta eat.
Yeah, we gotta eat. All right. You guys got anything else before we shut her down?
Nope,
No,
we're
I
good.
think we're good this week.
All right. Everybody, thanks for listening. Thanks for tuning in. Again, check us out on Facebook, YouTube. Click the link, like it, subscribe, notification bell. Friend us on Facebook. Send us your email. Send us some stories. Send us a listener text or listener request. Paranormaltrucker@yahoo.com. And we're going to continue to try to be on schedule on Sunday, but like this past Sunday, like I said, again, sorry for that. It's just, life gets in the way. Wheels of progress. Got to keep moving. Until then, guys, we will see you.
We also need to, we were supposed to go ghost hunting this past weekend. A couple things come up that knocked us out of getting to go. So, I do want to thank Elliot and the Spooky family for inviting us.
Yeah.
The couple of things I've seen is pretty interesting. I think they're going to have it on their show.
Yeah, don't give it away. Don't give it away.
Well, they're putting it on their show. I'm just telling them that there was some interesting stuff that I saw that, I can't wait for that show.
Sure.
To get to see all of it or hear what all they found.
Oh yeah, no, Elliot and his spooky family are doing some stuff over there. That's for sure.
Yeah, and hopefully when they do their next one, the stars will get in line and we can go.
All righty. All right, guys, that's going to do it for us from the Paranormal Trucker. Check us out every Sunday-ish, Monday or Tuesday. We'll drop something sometime around the first of the week. Until then, guys, have a safe week. Keep the shiny side up, and we will see you next week.
Bye.
Tell them Large Marge sent you.